We continue our coverage of 7.1 on the public test server for Star Wars: The Old Republic. We're now going to check out the Manaan Daily area. So you go on the Manaan, and this is the Republic entrance. As soon as you land, you'll go here to the right, and you'll have the mission giver and the reputation vendor. This reputation vendor has actually a bunch of decorations and a lot of pretty neat stuff, so let's go through them. So here you have this water fountain, pretty cool animation. So you have also this SCONCE. You can see this quick image how they actually look like in the map. You have this blue KOLTO shipment, which is basically literally what's in front of me. You can also earn, this one's one of the higher tier rewards for champion, a turtle companion. Really cute. If you have the Rishi stronghold, there is already a turtle there. So now you'll be able to actually have a turtle with you all the time. A coral moon sculpture, pretty nice interior decoration. And one of the big things of decorations of this vendor is that there's a lot of underwater stuff. So if you have the Manaan stronghold, for example, this coral reef is amazing because it's one of those big purple hooks and it's perfect to just put on the underwater areas that the stronghold has. Now we're going to show you here some of the weapons. I'm actually quite surprised with the weapons here. They are pretty nice for a reputation vendor. You have your cannon, you have your blaster rifle. They have their unique shooting color as well, including the lightsaber itself. As you can see, it already has that color by default. It's not me putting that color. You can see it now how it looks on when you don't have it active. You also hear the dual saber. I think it looks pretty cool. I think it's really nice that it comes with that color by default. And the sniper rifle, I'm not too fan of the rifles on this one, but they're okay. You have this excavator decoration, a gunner pod. Basically there's a lot of turrets if you want to decorate with turrets. A submersible, which is basically the Manaan submarine. It comes already with a lot of seaweed stuff. And this is the armor set that you can get, which is, I think it's alright. It looks pretty decent if you dye it around with some of the dyes, so like we're playing around here. You have more of these torches, and then the other version of the armor is this one where it's black-gray. Pretty much the same thing, just changes the color. You also have some more decorations here, sculptures. You will see more of these decorations in the new areas they added. Especially this statue. This statue is pretty big. Here you can see a quick picture of that statue actually. Reaper droid attachment, nothing too fancy for that one. And this is where you get a bunch of sea kelps to basically decorate so many seaweeds and all that kind of stuff in your stronghold. Of course, there's Selcaf personnel, so if you just want to fill your stronghold of Manaan with Selcaf working and create your own Selcaf facility, you got many of personnel here for that. Another shrine of tentacle statues, this time they're all connected in the center. And again, more seaweed. A steam exhaust, probably my least favorite decoration because we have so many steam things. This one's pretty cool, it's an assault column, it's not just any column, this is actually a turret column. So if you want to put defenses on your stronghold, pretty cool. And lastly, you have the waterlog title, which you can get once you get legend ranking. And that's it for everything in the reputation vendor. For Manaan, it's the same thing for Republic and Empire. Nothing different in that front. So we have here the terminal from dailies and weeklies. There's 7 dailies, but one of them is just a patrol. So technically it's 6 dailies. And you have 2 heroic, 2+, which you can actually solo, and I was able to do it. And then you have a more challenging heroic 4 Fallout, which I was not able to complete, but I'm still gonna show you what it looks like. It's actually not a long mission, it's more of a boss fight, but it has a bunch of ads. And of course the weekly, which is completing daily Manaan missions. Once you grab the missions, you'll go here to the right, down this bridge, and you'll find the transport area. So we're moving on to our first new area here. This is the area where I was saying where you can see all the old relics that are underwater. Now they're pretty much protected by a dome. You'll find all the coral reefs and all that kind of decorations that we were showing up earlier. The area itself is called the Ancient Selcaf City. So we're gonna head over to our first daily area. and one of the dailies takes place in this bridge center. Now one of the dailies itself is to recover the agent's code cylinder and defeat Selkath Isolationist. That one about defeating is basically it. You just have to defeat those enemies, 15 of them, and you'll complete with the mission. Now the recover the agent's code cylinder is a bit more interesting. So we're gonna recover that cylinder by killing this guy, and we get the cylinder. Once you got that cylinder, we gotta go below this bridge. So you can drop down here, it's safe. And when you drop here, you can kill these guys over here so you can get your KOLTO processing code. And then you're gonna go up here, then you're gonna go up a bit again, and you'll find this computer here in front of this KOLTO backstop pod. So you press that, and you'll see that now you have to go down here again and play with these machines. It's pretty simple, you just have to look for the ones that are active for you to hit. So you hit this one to decrease pressure in KOLTO processor. You look for the next one to lower the temperature in the processor, which is this one over here. Then you decrease pressure in the KOLTO processor by hitting this one over here. And with that complete, you'll go back up where we started these computers, and you retrieve the enhanced KOLTO sample, and that's it. That's all you gotta do. And that daily is complete. We're gonna keep grinding for the isolationist kills. So you just keep exploring the area, and eventually you'll complete them, all the kills. That's it. You will already make good conquest progress also on Manaan by doing those 2 dailies already. Now we have 2 dailies to progress here. One of them is Deep Trouble, where we have to find a monitor that we have to repair. So we find a monitor in this area. It will be marked on your map and it's easy to find. All you have to do is repair it, and you're done with that daily on this area. The other monitors are in the other 2 areas of Manaan. So basically, this is an exploration mission on all the new areas that are made for the dailies. But the last mission to do on this area, on this specific one, is the Vital Intelligence, where you have to locate the secure datapad. So you're going to be using an extraction droid here. You see this yellow thing on the floor? These things are all over the Manaan dig site, so you don't have to go through a very specific one. But when you do find one of these, you press on the droid, and you mark it so that you can summon him, and it will try to find on the ground what you're looking for. You have to keep trying and finding new ones because you're not going to find it right away. And we got the datapad. And that's it. That was all there is to it. So we completed 3 dailies just on this area and progressed one of the other dailies. So next we move to the other area where there is 2 dailies to progress. So here we just have to gather supplies. This one's pretty easy. You just have to look for the supplies that are glowing blue where all the enemies are. And you can stealth your way through some of these enemies as well. And then I'm grabbing this supply right here. And then you just keep going through all the supplies around the area to complete it until you find 8 of them, and that's it. Now this is going to be more challenging when this is live because there are going to be so many players doing it at the same time. With that daily completed, that means 4 dailies completed, so my daily patrol Manaan is also completed. Now before we leave this area, we look for our other monitor, and that's it. We move on to the next 3rd area. So in this final 3rd area, you can find the heroics and the other 2 dailies to finish them. Now one of the dailies here is pretty basic, simple, of recover datapads from Selkath Isolationist. So basically you just have to defeat enemies and grab the datapads when they drop. Now I did have issue that not all the enemies often drop the datapad compared to all the other missions, so that was a bit tricky, and hopefully that gets a little bit polished when it's live. However, the great thing is that one of the heroics is recover code cylinders from Isolationists, so you essentially can progress the daily and the heroic 2+ at the same time while you're defeating the enemies on this area. As we continue to progress that daily and heroic, we find the final monitor for the daily Deep Trouble. So now we just have 1 daily left and our heroics. So eventually I found all the code cylinders to progress the heroic. The next step for this heroic, called the Unwelcome Sign, after grabbing those cylinders, is to scan for a secure communication channel signal. So you have to use your goggles to zoom in. You have to get around this area, and then you get close here to the bridge, but you don't have to engage the enemies if you don't want. If you're sneaky enough, you can grab it right from over here. And you finish that step, and now you do the next step, which is disrupt the broadcast signal. This step is pretty easy. You just have to go back to where we came from and grab this computer. And that's it. You completed Heroic 2 Plus. If you're still missing a daily, which I was, the Heroic still counts as part of the weekly dailies. So I completed my weekly dailies with the Heroic. So we move on to the next Heroic 2 Plus, which is Supply Side Justice. We have to scan the submarines from Manaan here. You'll see there's a bunch over here, and we have to make our way through the bridge across. So you can stealth your way through some enemies and then kill the ones here. Once you get those enemies, you can scan each one of these. They refresh pretty quickly enough. Again, this is because when this is live, there's going to be a bunch of people doing it at the same time, especially because these missions are actually pretty short and pretty cool to grind, similar to the Circa Corporation daily weekly area. Once you finish scanning those, you need to scan some supply drops. To do that, we must go to this elevator, which also has the Heroic 4. Once you go to the elevator, you can see here from the start what we're looking for in terms of the supplies. You'll see that they're glowing from a distance already over here and over there. Once you scan 5 of those, you have to go to the cave over to this cave where the Heroic 4 is also in there. You go past through these enemies, and then you'll see that you have a left and a right. One is to continue progressing the Heroic 2 Plus, and the other one's the Heroic 4. So we're gonna finish first our Heroic 2 Plus, and it takes us to a boss fight, which is not that hard. It has enemies that spawn, but you can take them out fairly quickly and still survive, so you can really solo this one. It's a bit time consuming on your own, but you can still do it. And then we kill him, and that's it for that Heroic. And then here, and then we move to the Heroic 4, which unfortunately I'm not able to finish solo because it's definitely a lot harder. Now the boss itself isn't really hard to damage. The issue comes with the fact that he spawns a bunch of ats that don't stop spawning. So naturally, that is the way they made it, so that you always have to have teammates to handle those spawns. You also have like 3 KOLTO stations here to help you out as well. And that's it for all the daily and heroics on the Manaan area. In the Imperial side, you have a really beautiful entrance, as you can see here. Aside from that, you go to an elevator, and you walk past the submarine area. You look for a computer here, you find Agent Pagron here to get the reputation, same reputation decorations, and pretty much the same missions, since you have the monitors, you have the same KOLTO experiment. The most notable daily that changes a little bit, but it's still essentially the same thing, is the one where you have to find a cargo supplies. Instead of looking for cargo supplies, you are recovering lost artifacts in the Selkath temple area. So they look like this. Very easy to grab. You just grab them around, all 8, and you're done. And that's it for my run through all of what I could find in 7.1 update. Hope you enjoyed this video, my first ever Star Wars The Old Republic, one of my favorite games. I also highly recommend you check out Star Wars Tourista. She does a lot of coverage as well of the update. She posted a bunch of decorations I had no idea about, for example, from Daimyo Decoration Bundle, which is inspired by Book of Boba Fett. Sam and Star Wars Tourista did together the first boss of the operation. So I'm going to post you the link in the description below so you can check that out as well. Anyways, see you next time.